button.
I remember when I was younger, one time me and my cousin mixed a bag of pixie sticks, like 100 of them,
Okay.
and the energy drink balls. And
Yeah.
mixed it together and then drank
And
it.
you're yelling at me for being
We
dumb?
called it nuts.
Jesus, dude.
This is when I used to stay up all 24 or 48 hours at a time playing Diablo 2 in the
Yeah.
basement. That and GoldenEye back and forth.
Fuck yeah. I remember once we went to some sort of gaming-related convention in Pennsylvania, and they had a balls truck that not only had the energy drink, they also had powder, but more interestingly, they had slushies. They had, like, balls slushies.
I remember not tasting very good.
I don't know. I thought they were all right. But when you realize that you're drinking energy drink syrup just with shaved ice, it's like...
Oh, it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
God.
that-
It never really made it to market beyond that. I never
That's
saw
like
it anywhere
the-
ever again.
In college, I came up with a scheme, which was this dumb idea in retrospect, but
Okay.
I was a genius back then.
Yeah.
So you know Soda Streams?
Yes.
Those, yeah. So you can buy
Still
this
some at
syrup
Best Buy sometimes.
for a Soda Stream and then just buy dollar bottles of carbonated water, like big bottles.
So wait, you were going to be like, I'm going to make my own soda.
And they sold this, not soda, they sold a syrup that was Red Bull flavored.
Well, Red Bull's expensive, so I
here's
can
the
see where
thing-
your brain's
Here's
going.
the thing about Soda Streams is that they don't really tell you how much of it to put in. So I put in way too much.
It's a small amount.
And it was a liter bottle of carbonated water. It looked like Diet Coke,
What did it taste like?
like really bad Red Bull.
It tastes like he has diabetes. Wait, there's sugar in Red Bull, right?
Oh, yeah,
no, there's
there
a lot
is.
of sugar. Why do you think they make a sugar-free Red
Oh,
Bull?
shit.
Yeah,
I literally
The
don't
light
know.
blue
I've
can.
had one Red Bull my whole life. It tastes like gasoline, and I thought I was going to die.
I used to work at
W.
a Mach W is the Wawa one, right? They pulled those off the shelf like back when we were in like high school.
It was just Red Bull, but half price.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I worked at a movie theater, and I used to change the soda things, and they weren't energy drinks, but they were very concentrated. And when you would go to use them immediately, it would have to take a second, so you would get like if you
Syrup.
Yeah, you'd get a full blast of that.
Full blast. That sounds like an energy drink.
We should start our own energy drink company.
We
Except I
should.
think we have to own a foreign car and be a shithead. Because every energy company I know is started
Well,
by
Randall's
a shithead
got a
with
Fiat,
a foreign
and
car.
I'm looking around. I see 3 shitheads right here.
There we go. We're prepped and ready to go.
Do they still sell?
Which
like,
one of us wants to be an anti-vaxxer?
I guess
not
I'll take it.
All right.
Okay.
You want to be the 9/11 truther?
What do you mean? 9/11 was an inside job? That kind of thing?
Yeah.
It was.
Okay. See, we're already a third of the way there.
Now, where do we get the money from
two-thirds
our
of the way.
energy drink profits?
They still do this, but for a while, whenever they made novelty drinks from TV shows and movies and stuff like that, they were always energy drinks, like the
Yeah.
Duff beer and like the E-Tank, the Mega Man one. There's a bunch of video game ones. And they're all like the
Nuka-Cola.
same. Yeah, the Nuka-Cola. They're all the same with like a different wrapper, essentially. Well, Nuka-Cola was a glass one, but these were all like the
Yeah.
cans.
No, Nuka-Cola was the only one that was actually soda.
Yeah,
Right,
that
was it like
was made by
blueberry soda?
Jones.
Do you think? Oh, it was made by
I do remember
Jones.
that.
Yeah.
That shit was good, too.
Does it still cost like $1 million?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a roommate who staked out Target opening hours to collect as many of those drinks that he could and give them out to friends and resell them.
Yeah, somebody gave me one, and I drank it immediately.
Because there's supposed to be one per customer. I had a box of the Halo 3 game fuel that I held on to, and then I guess mice in my basement chewed through the...
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I kept it for a long time, and it was in like perfect condition, and then like I remember going downstairs once, and it was just like melted all out of the floor.
That shit
Yeah.
was good. The
Yeah.
World of Warcraft one was good, too.
Which one?
The Alliance one.
Okay.
The blue one. The Horde one was just the
So the
Halo one.
opposite of how you actually swing in Warcraft.
No.
I thought you were a
Now that
Horde
we
player.
have none of them here. I wanted to be Alliance, but I got bullied into being the Horde.
Oh no! I'm gonna hit up Dan.
All right, well, I guess he'll kick me out of the WoW guild that I haven't actually interacted with that game in 4 months.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hot Button. Today we're going to take a little break from our Tetris series to get into another very fascinating story that has also been on our docket for quite some time.
When I close my eyes, all I see is blocks, like when I play Minecraft for too long.
It's called the Minecraft effect. It's a real thing.
But something I know one of us especially has wanted to cover. Twitch Plays Pokémon, a massive social experiment in which over 1 million random people from all over the world collaborated together in playing Nintendo's 1998 RPG classic completely through the power of crowdsource by stream. It was a beautiful, chaotic mess the likes of which the industry had never seen, a tale of community, connection, and somehow even triumph. But just how exactly did this come to be, and how did it even work? What was the outcome, and what did it lead to? Well, if you want to know, keep listening, because I'm Randall Beatrice, here as always with Austin Blakesley,
Nope.
and Chris Anantuano.
You.
Chris, would you please take us back to 2014 and tell us all about the time Twitch played Pokemon?
Yeah, absolutely. I figured this would be a fun episode because it's kind of lighthearted. Not that the Tetris one is not lighthearted, but it just seems like more of an epic tale. And it's like a nice, we'll break it up with something a little bit goofy.
This will be a cool one, too, because I think in some way this came probably in front of all of our faces, whether we directly interacted or not.
Yeah,
and
myself personally.
I did not participate with Twitch Plays Pokemon. I did watch a little bit of the fish playing Street Fighter.
Yes, that's going to be our next episode after this, our sequel.
That's actually one of the inspirations, the guy said, Salty Bet and like, things like that.
You mentioned that to me the other day. I love Salty Bet. Still, that's still going strong. It's probably streaming right now, right?
Yep.
I guess we should also probably explain the Twitch service real quick as well. I know it's come up on previous episodes before, but just in case anyway.
I have a small thing about Twitch here that I put in. I can just read it now. Twitch is a game streaming website where Ninja and other Fortnite streamers say sexist things and negligently influence hundreds of thousands of children.
Ninja's on Mixer
That
now.
would be correct. Some Ninja left, yeah.
It's just from a while ago.
Oh, okay.
He also has his own Fortnite skin now.
Really?
Yeah, you can play as Ninja in Fortnite.
Does that affect like how your character avatar interacts with the women avatars?
There was a great tweet by somebody that just said if you put on the Ninja skin, it deletes all the women's skins from your account.
On point. Mm-hmm. My personal interaction with Twitch Plays Pokemon was because I think I said this to you guys, where I logged on, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and the character is just walking into a wall, and then I'll like go to bed and wake up, and I'm like, they beat a gym? What happened while I was asleep?
Well, okay, so I'd like to start off this episode by thanking and recognizing the main source and one of the most useful tools in researching the episode, TPpedia. It's an incredibly detailed archive of information for all of Twitch Plays Pokemon, not just the first one, because they've been going for years since then and done.
Has that been archived? Like, can you watch the whole thing?
Extensively.
Wow.
So the website itself includes minute-by-minute timestamps of the actual stream notes, and also intensely deep pages about all the lore, the meta lore, which is something we'll get into today, about Twitch Plays Pokemon.
That's fucking awesome,
So if you want to get lost in a wiki hole, you can check that out at helixpedia.fandom.com.
Okay.
So,
nice.
People love beating video games in weird ways. There's the Japanese Nico streamer. I think that's like their YouTube or Twitch or something like that. Wakao, who played Super Mario World with a recorder. He assigned all the different pitches to the controls.
What?
And then, of course, he played the whole thing with his nose. He didn't just blow out of his mouth.
Who played Dark Souls with the Rock Band drum kit?
I don't know exactly who, but that's on here. There's also Chloe Desmoineau, who played Counter-Strike with a mouse and then wired lipstick to be the rest of the motions. It's called, like, lip strike. Like, she moves it, like, putting it on, and it, like, shoots and does things like that. It's incredible.
I need to watch both of these.
Mario with a DDR pad.
Yes.
There's a guy, a streamer, who plays Final Fantasy with his feet, because, like, that's the only way he can physically play it, and it's fucking incredible. Or, like you said, Dark Souls with Rock Band drums. Or Dark Souls with a 360 fishing controller. Or Dark Souls with the DK Jungle Beat bongos. Or Dark Souls with bananas. Did you see that one?
Yes.
There's a guy who literally wires bananas, and like you just press the banana and it does an input, and he just has a table full of bananas and he plays Dark Souls.
There's that one guy that does every Overwatch character. He does a different thing.
So for each character?
He had Reinhardt, he had like a squeaky hammer that he wired up, and then Hanzo, he had like a Nerf bow and arrow.
Yes, I saw that.
My God.
The bow it's really, really cool.
That's fantastic.
I forget, like, Symmetra was like a cup of tea. He wired up to play Symmetra.
Well, what about beating a game with more than one person's input? What about 10 or 100 people? What about 120,000 people at the same time? This is absolutely one of my favorite stories in video game culture. Over the course of 17 days in February of 2014, millions of people came together on Twitch and completed Pokemon Red. Whether intended to or not, it was a fascinating social experiment, an invaluable example of the internet's ability to build a cult of personality around something, and it's just straight up impressive given the circumstances. So how and why?
Oh, man.
On February 12th, 2014, an anonymous Australian programmer launched a Twitch stream of Pokemon Red, kind of unprompted. So this wasn't just a normal Pokemon Red. This was the setup. An IRC bot, which I can let Austin explain in a second, would capture specific inputs typed into the Twitch chat, like B, A, up, down, start, etc., and then it would use those inputs to put those commands into a Virtual Boy Advance version of Pokemon Red, which is just an emulator, for those of you that don't know.
Right.
Then the game would initiate those commands, and that's how they would play the game. The streamer chose Pokemon Red for nostalgia's sake and because, quote, even when played very poorly, it is difficult to not make progress in Pokemon. And the turn-based nature and the lack of reactionary gameplay made it perfect for the premise.
Right, the pacing of it. Yeah.
So, say just an anecdote about the IRC bot, maybe?
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, IRC, Internet Relay Chat, the earliest versions of something like AIM or something like that.
Rest in peace.
If you've ever been on Twitch and you've seen a streamer be like, I know our friend has done this, Mr. Bob Dobb on Twitch, type hashtag or exclamation point and then a command and then something will happen on my stream.
Right. iDarb style.
Right. What it does is you take some sort of chat, you program a bot which intakes every chat message and then filters it based on a list that you give it. So, if somebody types, hey, what's up? Nothing will happen. But if they type hashtag up, or in this case just up, or exclamation point tip, or whatever, it will take that message and then run some sort of code. And in the case of games like Twitch Plays Pokemon, it'll take the command up by itself, process that. The bot will then send it to the emulator, which has another program that processes those commands and then hits the buttons.
Because that shit was rolling at a mile a minute.
Oh, yes. And that'll be a major player.
It took a little bit to get rolling, though, I think. Yeah.
So not much is known about the first 9 hours of the game, or very much of the first day at all, really.
Yeah.
The average viewer count was around 30 viewers/players.
That's it, huh?
Yeah. Also, several times I'll switch viewers/players, players, viewers, streamers. I'll change what it is, but we're all referring to the mob, essentially, that controls the game. The player character was named Red, and the rival was named Blue, and then a Charmander was chosen at the starter. And then it was promptly named, all capitals, A, B, 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 K, left parentheses.
The names are just commands.
This is only with 30 people. Okay? And it was colloquially named Abby by the community.
Okay, that's cute.
Which, this naming convention, due to the sporadic nature of the inputs...
Wait, there's no Y in the original Game Boy controller?
And the interpretation of those names will continue to hilarious effect throughout this stream. So, during this time, players defeated Blue. They got to Viridian City and delivered Oak's parcel. They bought 2 Pokeballs and threw them both at a trainer's Caterpie. And they cleared Viridian Forest and made it to Pewter City. Quite impressive.
Yeah, that's already
only 30 people.
Yeah.
Now, for all of you, it's been a very long time since I played Pokemon, the original. So
Me
a
too.
lot of this stuff might be like, what are you talking about? But if you've ever played a Pokemon in the last 20 years, they haven't changed the game at all.
I keep saying that,
It's
but
the same game.
I'm going to get run out of town.
So
Wait, what?
So, now at almost 10 hours in, the first known mention of Twitch Plays Pokemon on 4chan's /VP board comes as a screenshot from inside of Brock's gym. After a failed attempt to beat Brock, there's another mention of the stream.
You got to aim for the sprinkler.
Another mention of the stream appears on a website called GBA Temp, which is an old ROM hosting site that turned into a community board. So, largely due to the move Ember, Red defeats Brock on the second try, and naturally, Abby learns the move Bide by replacing Ember immediately. So for the next several hours, a group of mostly 4chan users now didn't get much done at all. They kind they kind of struggled around Route 3 and Mount Moon. However, there is one thing that they stumbled into actually getting done, which will be one of the largest contributions to the playthrough and the lore. After blacking out on their first attempt through Mount Moon, just to clarify, blacking out means your whole party reaches 0 health points. And
you wake up like
at the nearest Pokemon Center.
You don't die because
place.
it's a kid's game.
Fainted.
After blacking out their first attempt through Mount Moon, the players catch a Pidgey on Route 3. And though right now it's only named Pidgey, it would soon become one of the most iconic characters in this story. So, after a few more hours of fumbling around Mount Moon, Abby evolves into a Charmeleon, Red blacks out again, and then tosses out the only antidote they picked up. When you toss out an item, it means you get rid of it permanently, just for future reference.
Yes, yeah.
And the day ends with just over 50 viewers and players in the stream. And at the very end of the day, the IRC bot crashes while the streamer is asleep. And
I didn't even know
the
that.
stream just sits still for several hours, like the entire night he's sleeping, which is most of the time that we'd be awake in America.
Yeah,
doing
I guess that's true.
So after many hours, the stream is up and running again and ready for day 2 with around 20 viewers now. I guess they lost a little bit of the run-up they had with the drop-off. They acquire the Moonstone, and then soon the legendary Helix fossil, which later on when we talk about some of the lore behind TPP, I'll tell you why that's so important. Over on 4chan, a thread starts on /V. Within 30 minutes, the player count goes to 120 after that thread. 30 more minutes after that, now it's at 300. Mount Moon is finally cleared. However, Red blacks out and has to go all the way back to Route 3 again because Abby was poisoned and they threw out the only antidote like a couple hours
I'm trying to visualize just like if you didn't know that a group of people were playing, it was just like imagine if that was like the anime went in that direction.
So within 20 minutes of that blackout, the stream hits 1,000 people for the first time that day. Okay. Over the next hour or so, the numbers continue to rise. There's a post on a GameFAQs forum, then there's a post on Reddit, and then there's a second post on Reddit. Now there's videos being taken, the first documented chat logs start taking place, and the first screenshot of day 2 shows a player count of 1,732.
I like that there's an early gray or like history that's unknown.
They call it, I believe, the Forgotten Times in the lore or something like that.
It's cool that some people chronicled it enough to know, like
sort of and the chronicling gets way more intense.
Oh yeah.
So also during this time, they tossed out the move water gun. And then the stream cut off for 10 minutes for who knows what reason.
Technical difficulties.
And this happens a lot, just because of the nature of the bot and all the things that are happening. They enter Mount Moon once more, and then immediately exit. And then 20 minutes later, they enter Mount Moon again, and then immediately exit again. And then they enter 13 minutes later, and they fight a Zubat, and then immediately exit again. So, time to explain why that's happening a little bit. As Randall said in the beginning, like, the player was just moving and bouncing up against a wall.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain like what this looks like. There are 1,700 people at this point typing in commands to control a video game character.
Yeah.
What it looks like is a character walking left, right, up, down, opening the menu, closing the menu, opening the menu, looking at the Pokedex, clicking 10 things, closing the menu, opening the menu, walking back and forth. It looks like you're just mashing the buttons on your controller and nothing is happening.
I mean, imagine like all those people holding around a Game Boy each just trying to...
Yes, that is precisely what's happening. That chaotic nature is why I'm just like, the fuck did they even get this far? So the players stroll back to the Route 3 Poke Center, and they tried to buy a Magikarp without enough money. And then, after entering Mount Moon...
And we've all been there.
Yeah, they clear it in just under an hour, and Red finally arrives and heals in Cerulean City. So at day 1, 10 hours and some change, the stream count is at 3,345 players watching and participating.
All right,
just
this is
a little
growing.
bit over. Yeah. I'll just bullet point the rest of this day. They lose to Misty. They lose to Blue. They bought 2 Pokeballs. Twitch broadcast saving begins. So this is when the first videos of archived footage are actually happening. At this point now, you can watch it from here on out. They caught a Rattata, and they named it JLVWNN0000 or Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. I remember this.
Some of the fan art is amazing for these.
Is that where I saw
Rattata with
photoshops
Jay
of
Leno.
like his chin? I'm like,
on a Rattata, yeah. Yeah, because I guess Joe Levino looks like Jay Leno.
Yeah, I get it.
Their Pidgey evolved into a Pidgeotto, and they tossed out the Moonstone. So,
how many items they keep disposing of.
It's hilarious the amount of shit they just throw away.
Like, do you think that is accidental, or is this like an anarchy?
Well, it becomes
like fighting democracy here.
Yeah, they're opening like the menu, and then people are trying to press directions for just walking.
Yeah.
But by the time they're doing that, the stream lag happens, so they're opening a menu, and they're just pressing A and B in the menu
You
now.
can't even cancel
exactly.
again. Yeah.
So you're just like
Fast
going out
enough
to without you knowing it.
That's funny.
And while all this happened, sprinkled throughout, 10 more defeats by Misty. After 8 hours.
What, Brock was only twice?
8 hours and 11 tries later, they finally beat Misty. And the day ends with the stream rescuing Bill. They get the move Dig. And they catch one more, Rattata, who will become the most infamous of them all. And they colloquially named it Dig Rat. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll get to...
I like Jay Leno better.
Yeah. So day 3 starts with the creation of the Twitch Plays Pokemon subreddit. This is where those boards start coming up and people start organizing, hey, are we going to actually try and beat this game? This seems pretty crazy and it's getting hectic, but maybe we can do it. They board the SS Anne, which is like a ship part of the game. They teach Digrat Dig.
Oh, shit.
They catch a Drowsy. That Drowsy will soon to be known as the Keeper. Okay, we'll get there.
Okay, I don't know that one.
And they catch a Sparrow, who they trade shortly after for a Farfetch named Dux, who's another fan favorite kind of character.
Yeah.
The team beats Blue and acquires Cut, like a crucial move.
Yes, that you need to literally progress
in the game.
Yeah.
So they teach Cut to Dux, and they cut to the tree into Surge's gym right there, and they move on.
That's good. I don't think you can throw Cut out, right?
That took almost 2 hours to teach him Cut and then cut the tree.
A little
in
shrub just to make it over there.
You're talking like a 1x1 space that you just have to cut a tree in front of. It's hilarious.
It takes like 10 seconds.
I watched like 20 minutes of them trying to teach it Cut. It's just amazing.
Just edit that into its own feature film and just the most anxiety-inducing, like. And then at the end, it's just this.
So this is also where I started
applause.
watching. I remember a friend sent me the link, and I tuned in, and I'm just like, "What? Just watching them try to teach this Pokemon Cut?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?" After that Cut debacle, the stream was facing a dreaded challenge called the Trash Can Puzzle in Lieutenant Surge's gym.
Trash can puzzle.
Yeah. So basically, there's just a bunch of trash cans, and there's 2 switches you have to press, and they're in those trash cans.
Okay.
It'll be in a random one.
I remember
and then, like,
statues with buttons.
Yeah, and then like Minesweeper, it'll be in one of the next adjacent random ones.
Okay.
However, if you pick the wrong one,
you have to do it all over.
resets the whole puzzle. Then you have to pick a random one. Then you have to do et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I bet that was fun.
To virtually everyone's surprise, they completed this puzzle so fucking easily.
Really?
They almost got it right away. Yeah, I know.
What happened with the Cut thing?
So the party moved on and defeated Lieutenant Surge's second try and acquired their 3rd gym badge. They're moving right along.
Holy shit.
Though it's not without tossing out their nugget, which is an item that nets you a shitload of money, and struggling for a while to cut the tree the first time they lost a Surge. So soon after a blackout on Route 9, there was a soft reset. Basically, you could reset your Game Boy by pressing all of the buttons in like a certain way. I think it was either all the buttons or select
like a
start
debug
and like thing.
Oh, I mean, I bet
But
that was
the point
there.
is,
I know
because
the
of
DS
the
had
lag
one.
on the stream, it was simulating a soft reset to the Virtual Boy. So he had to cut off the stream and actually disable the select button because it wasn't being used for anything anyway.
Of course, yeah. I wonder if that was like accidental or if people like.
I think it was because of the lag. Like,
yeah,
it was
just so many
interpreting
inputs came in at
inputs.
once.
Yeah.
That's funny.
A, B, start, select.
Yeah, so he had to delete the select button.
Wow.
It's like people were pressing select anyway, even though it did nothing. Like, why are you typing in select?
Yeah, I don't. Does select do anything? Does that just minimize the menu when you're in it?
No, I don't think it does
Does
anything.
anything?
Do anything,
Okay,
no.
then yeah.
So they renamed Red XXX for some reason. I'm just going to refer to him as Red for the rest of the thing. And they renamed Blue capital AA, lowercase DEEF. But who knows?
I was hoping you were gonna say ass.
The stream continued on Route 9 and towards a struggle-filled day 4. So, day 4, otherwise known as the Obstacle Day. It begins with the infamous Route 9 ledge.
Misty wasn't enough, huh?
No. So the Route 9 ledge is, in Pokemon, there's like these things like you can't go up them. You can only go down them. These little things you can hop over.
Yeah.
So in Route 9, there's like a part
one-way
where
fences.
There's like a smallish area where if you fall down, you have to go all the way back up and around and back around and go. And if you fall down, you have to go, well, it seems whatever, because if you're on your Game Boy, you just take your time. But if there's 4,000 people controlling you, it's not easy to not jump down a ledge over and fucking over again.
I wonder what's the longest anybody participated in this. Like, if there was one person just be like, come on, like just for
There's
hours
a ton
and
of great
hours.
screenshots where it's just like a screenshot of Red hopping over the ledge and somebody highlighted the down key in the Twitch chat, like this fucking asshole.
Yeah, ruined it for everybody.
So after 8 hours, of being stuck here, they cleared the ledge. And then a trainer's Geodude blacks out the party and then sends them back to the beginning
They're
again.
gonna do it all over again.
But this time, after only 3.5 hours, they make it back, only to fall to the last part of the ledge 2 minutes later.
Oh.
But
Only
thankfully,
3.5 hours.
it only took them 30 minutes to get back around the last part of the ledge.
Okay.
And finally,
They weaned out the weak. They hunted that guy down that rode down and
so what's
took him
that?
out.
Like almost 12 hours it takes them to clear a part that could virtually take you 15 minutes.
How in
if
the
you
world did they
play.
beat this in like 2 weeks?
Route 9 was finally cleared, and the party healed up at the Rock Tunnel Pokemon Center. So, if you don't remember the Rock Tunnel, it's an area where when you go in, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
You just have a small circle of light around your character, unless you have to move Flash, which they didn't have.
Of course.
Or could possibly even teach to a Pokemon.
Need that
or
TM.
even manage to use Flash.
That part sucks.
I could never explain or write a better joke than what the stream transcript says.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read the transcript.
Yes.
Enter the Rock Tunnel, first time, 3 days, 5 hours, 30 minutes. Blacked out. Entered Rock Tunnel. Digrat used dig to exit Rock Tunnel. Entered Rock Tunnel. Blacked out. Entered Rock Tunnel. Blacked out. Entered Rock Tunnel. Blacked out. Entered Rock Tunnel. Digrat used dig to exit tunnel. Entered Rock Tunnel. Digrat used dig to exit Rock Tunnel. After 4 more. Entered Rock Tunnel. Digrat uses dig to exit Rock Tunnel. The last thing is just deposited Digrat into PC.
This removed the problem.
This is why they called it Digrat. This is where he got the nickname from.
Okay.
Because every time they would try to make progress anywhere where dig was an applicable move, he would just dig and take them back to the beginning of the puzzle.
Digrat likes to dig.
So, after they enter and black out 2 more times, then the stream blacks out, and then once it returns, the party finally clears the Rock Tunnel at 3 days, 16 hours, 15 minutes. So, if you don't want to do the math, that's 10 hours.
Oh my god.
So they've made little to no progress through the game in the last almost 24 hours.
God bless these people keeping up. I would just like.
Day 4 wraps up with Pidgeotto evolving into a Pidgeot, and he kind of earns his messianic stature and the nickname Bird Jesus.
Bird Jesus. All right, yeah, I've seen that.
Character.
I've seen that before.
This is the nickname Bird Jesus. It mostly comes from his heroic battles in the Rock Tunnel, often getting the stream through just by using the move Struggle, which is the default move when you're out of move, like whatever the PP I think it's called. When you're out of that, your default move is Struggle, which is a move that moderately hurts them and then hurts yourself. So using Struggle beat a bunch of battles and help them get through.
God.
So they kind of earned this like holier than thou nature.
He led them through.
The stream enters Erica's gym and then tosses out Teleport immediately after they get it. And one of the most infamous days in Twitch Plays Pokemon begins. Starts off strong. They triumphantly whoop Erica with Bird Jesus because all the psychic Pokemon are weak to the moves that he uses.
Oh.
And then things turn quickly.
Neutral moves.
See, there was a debate on the forums of what to do regarding the need for a Pokemon to teach Surf to. Surf is another one of those things like Cut that you need to advance through the game. You have to surf across the water. So the debate was either to get an Eevee and evolve it into a Vaporeon or get a Lapras. And as the debate raged on, the stream just got an Eevee anyway.
Oh.
And then they went to buy a Water Stone, and instead they bought 3 Pokédolls and a Firestone. Spending all of Red's money. And after a failed attempt...
The worst Pokemon trainer ever.
Oh, yeah. There's so many great like pictures to turn. Like every time there's like fan art of Red, his eyes are just like one's facing up, one's facing down, his hat's on like sideways. Like he's just depicted as this like just possessed like rag doll. After a failed attempt, Detour to drop a Pokemon at the Poke Daycare, which on the map is buried in an area that has a ton of those one-way cliffs.
Right, yeah, I remember
So
that.
they just tried for hours and failed. The stream moved to rearrange the party to make room for a Lapras. They were like, we need room for Lapras because obviously you bought a Firestone. We're fucked on the Vaporeon move now. In the chaos of the thousands of inputs...
Tell me you can't teach search to Flareon?
In the chaos of all those inputs, Bird Jesus was deposited into the PC. And shortly later, the beloved Jay Leno, who is a fan favorite,
He came back.
and Abby were released. So when you release a Pokemon, that gets rid of them from your party and from the game.
Oh my god.
When you hit release, it's so easy. It's just, would you like to permanently release this Pokemon in the wild? They'll disappear forever. Yes. And then that's it.
Oh, I never did that as a kid. Like, I didn't even know that you could. Why would you? There's no reason to.
Yeah. So, Jay Leno and Abby, which is the Charmeleon, were released, and then Bird Jesus is in the
away
PC.
Your starter.
So this happened because of the input lag I explained earlier.
Yeah.
All those commands that are swiping through just from moving around ended up getting used to fucking release, these Pokemon later. So defeated, and now with any Pokemon capable of handling any gyms,
well, shit.
the stream reluctantly moves on. I'll use this little moment here to explain Twitch Plays Pokemon lore, okay?
Okay.
So, as I said, like a cult of personality built up around this stream while it was happening, especially around this time. Bird Jesus is like this messianic figure.
I've seen fan art of
So
of that
throughout
too.
all of this, the Helix fossil becomes really important because of this. Because of the chaotic nature of the opening and closing of the menus, often Red would open the items thing and just keep clicking the Helix fossil, and all it says is like, you can't do anything with this right now.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with this now. The players kind of would goof and talk about it in the stream like, oh, it's like Red has to consult this fossil. What do I do next? Open the menu, talk to the fossil. What do I do next? Open the menu. So the fossil becomes this like
character
that
itself.
Red is like praying to please help me get like through this chaotic world.
Amazing.
So the reason I call
It's like a magic 8-ball, just like
So all the characters are considered like these friends in this party that are trying to help Red get through this like adventure, and it just is gonna get so much more evolved from there. Every time lore is necessary, I'll bring it up in a little side thing.
This is great.
So the stream catches an oddish during this time, which later becomes known as Cabbage. I think they nickname it.
I feel like that is something that we would do as kids.
And they evolve the Eevee into the infamous Flareon.
Oh, cool.
Who would also be known now as the False Prophet in the Pokemon lore, which I'll explain to why that's called the False Prophet later when it becomes relevant.
Us all.
There's a little bit of reason it's called the False Prophet now is because the reason they even released Abby and Jay Leno and deposited Bird Jesus is because they were trying to rearrange the party to make room for a Lapras because they bought a Firestone and an Eevee. So in the lore, they blame the Firestone and the Flareon for the reason they released all the Pokemon. Because if they never would have had to fucking deposit them, they would have never had to release all these Pokemon.
Ooh.
Now, the reason they called that Keeper earlier is because that Drowsy was next to the Flareon in the PC. So in the lore, they were like, it's the Keeper of the False Prophet. I'm not lying at how deep this like meta lore gets.
I love it.
So after this, they enter the Rocket Hideout.
It's kind of beautiful, just people like just writing their own fiction together. Like, it's so wild.
You should go in that because since then, it's gotten epically larger because of all the different playthroughs they've done of all the different games. So they enter the Rocket Hideout, and now I can explain to you this. This is part of the game. There's a maze in the Rocket Hideouts. There's 2 floors of it.
Right, I remember this.
It's like picture like airport or Jetsons walkways where when you step on them, you move in one direction.
Yep.
So there's a maze of those. It's like you step on it, you move one direction, you move one direction, you move one direction, and you roll around, and you have to figure out which ones to land on and go on.
Or they'll take you back. Yeah.
It's not that easy to do when it's just you and one D-pad. So picture fucking at this point, probably 5,000, 10,000 people maybe, trying to get through this fucking maze. 8 hours after entering the maze, they're not even fucking close. I mean, like, nobody's even made a little bit of advancement after 8 hours.
Yeah.
And the day ends on a somber note. They have no Bird Jesus. They released people. This Flareon's bullshit.
Oh, man. There's a dark chapter.
They're wondering if they can even beat the game at all.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, holy shit, we're actually stuck. Like,
you can fail state yourself in Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't think we can actually physically get out of this because of the way the stream works.
Yeah.
So the stream approaches hour 18 of no progress in the fucking Rocket Hideout.
Oh, it's not looking good.
And there's a growing hate for Digrat on the forums because every time they do actually make any progress, Digrat just digs and goes back to the beginning of the fucking Team Rocket Hideout. So the streamer themselves decides to make a move. The stream goes offline and then comes back a little bit later with a huge fucking change called Democracy Mode.
Oh, right. This is the democracy versus anarchy thing.
Yes.
I mentioned.
Here's democracy mode.
I didn't know what caused them to implement that.
Opposed to the usual just input lag of thousands and thousands and thousands of streams of fucking moves, which now will become dubbed anarchy.
Yes.
Democracy mode takes
the
highest majority picked thing after a set amount of time. I think it was like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And then inputs that.
They still got pretty far without that, but
fucking A.
Yeah.
So after an hour or so, there's a ton of fucking stream issues, I guess because of whatever, implementing a whole new system to the game.
Yeah.
And then the first Start 9 riots begin, as they call them.
Start 9?
So basically the way democracy mode was implemented, it was so you could theoretically vote for left 9 up to 9. Left 9 means if everybody voted for left 9 and it passed, the character would move left 9 times. It made it so you wouldn't have to just go left 10 seconds, left 10 seconds, left, which is already slow.
Yeah.
However, here's the fucking issue. It goes off of a majority vote. So if a ton of people are like, we need to go down 3 spaces to get into this room, and a ton of people, let's say 20%, vote for down 3, but 20% more of the people just vote for down, now you're at 20%. So the majority is often going to the unified front, which is people who are quote-unquote rebelling against democracy mode by hitting Start 9, which just opens and closes the Start 9 times over and over and over again.
Oh, man.
And it bogs down the stream, and it leaves it just completely frozen, where just the menu's just being pressed over and over again. And Start 9 would win every time.
I wonder what this says about us, like, all, like, psychologically.
Because people were united in Start 9.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many people were actually, like...
They didn't want intervention,
pressing
man.
up and down. Those votes were divided.
Yeah.
And the unified front was, you know...
Is 4chan still in it at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds like 4chan.
Well, the first Start 9 riots were about the fact that they were like, okay, why is it now we have to play this way? Everybody liked playing the chaotic way.
Right, yeah.
So originally it was sort of like, it wasn't really a trolley thing.
They gave it some time. Like,
they absolutely, So after some time of no progress at all, the stream goes offline and returns back in anarchy mode, which is what the original thing is.
Did they ever switch back?
Well, a few hours later, the stream goes offline again and returns back with a new system. Now... there's anarchy and democracy, and every so often, once there's a majority of people voting for, it'll switch.
Holy
shit. While the same way you're typing in up, down, left, right, you can also type anarchy. You can also type democracy, and it'll cast a vote, and it's like a line with a little arrow that's pulling back and forth like a tug of war, and after a certain amount of time, once there's like a big majority, anarchy mode activates. Now it's all just inputs of streams. Same thing. Switches to democracy.
Yeah.
Now it goes to the voting system.
I never knew that all went down. Like, that's super interesting.
There are a few more of those Start 9 kind of things, but at this point, it's kind of toning down because people are like, okay, we like this system. Now it's like, let's play the game in anarchy until we physically can't fucking do it anymore. Then maybe we can talk about using this democracy mode to help us out.
Did they see progress, like, start to get made? Like,
absolutely.
Like,
the Start 9 thing became co-opted by fucking trolls at this point.
Of course.
Because it was like a thing that you could do to install the game. So, under the watchful eye of democracy, the stream finally clears the first maze. At this point, the viewer player count is at 80,000.
That certainly jumped.
Yeah. So over the last, day and a half, it gone from, 3,000-ish to 80,000
Them some fat
people.
numbers. This is years ago, like even before.
Mostly because the anarchy democracy mode that we just talked about caught the attention of news outlets.
Yes,
So
Kotaku reported on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure even beyond the gaming industry.
Yeah, there was it spread beyond the gaming industry. People were like, what the fuck is this weird voting thing happening in Pokemon? Or what? What is this? And this drew in so many fucking people.
Yeah.
Shortly after, Anarchy Mode comes back, and they go right back into the first maze. Which I love. That was like, democracy finally beat it. They're like, we take over. We're going back.
Like
a couple
real
minutes later, democracy mode is reactivated. Maze 1 is cleared again.
Okay.
Over the next 8 hours, and surprisingly only one time, Digrat digging out of the tunnel.
Poor Digrat just wants to dig.
The tug-of-war continues between the two game modes. Democracy clears the second maze, and they make it all the way to Giovanni at the end of the hideout, and the day ends with the player-viewer count topping out at 110,000 people. It's roughly estimated that about 10% were participating. That's still an insane amount of fucking inputs.
Yeah. I was passive for a little while, and then I tried, and then I got scared off.
One of my favorite memes comes from this, and I have it on my phone.
Went back to just observing.
I want to show you guys when it's over. Hey, I'll just show you right now. It's just like a little comic strip of Red coming into the room, smacking up against a bunch of walls, and then exiting. All of Giovanni's just standing there like, Yeah, it's absolutely spectacular. Yeah. So, after a switch to democracy and a quick Start 9 riot bringing it back to anarchy, the stream enters Giovanni's office for a second time, only for Digrat to do his good old thing. But just an hour and a half later,
good old thing.
The stream returns back there. Bird Jesus and Ducks defeat Giovanni, and it takes just 2 minutes later for the stream to reach its all-time player-viewer count peak. 123,224 people.
Holy shit. And
simultaneous.
What day is this?
This is on the 6th day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't take long to go from 30 people to that.
To, 123,000.
What side are you guys on? Team Anarchy or Team Democracy?
Democracy.
I have to show you. So that kind of became a cult of personality in itself.
Yeah.
There were logos. Now there was Bird Jesus was the
T-shirts got made.
Anarchy fucking god. Like the logo was Bird Jesus and it says like I will defend anarchy. And then Flareon was the democracy one. It says
mascot.
I will stand for democracy or something, or I will do democracy. And then
That's great.
Subsequently, because the Helix fossil was considered an anarchy kind of side, the Helix fossil was considered like Red's god, and that made the Dome fossil became kind of like the Satan, god. Like Antichrist of the fucking thing.
This one?
That is a great picture.
Wait, let me see. Oh my god.
I gotta say,
these are the ones I'm referring to.
Oh, okay. I haven't been talking a lot because I've been on my phone.
I want like patches of those.
I had them at my desktop the whole time this was happening.
That's so
I had to go on.
I've been talking a lot because I've been on my phone looking at Renaissance paintings with Pidgeot and Flareon photoshopped over them. They're very good. I like this one a lot.
Oh yeah, we got to use some of these.
I can't wait to see your photoshops of these.
This is a famous painting of Jesus.
We'll just,
and he's holding like a cross or something instead of the Helix fossil, and then I think Judas is where Flareon is. Like, there's a lot of thought put into this.
Oh, there is a spectacular amount of thought put into the lore.
And then there's Oddish and Farfetch'd and Digrat and Drowsy the Keeper.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
We gotta title this episode, what was the thing that the Helix fossil says?
Oh, it's something like, you can't use this right now.
Yeah.
So, the stream celebrates their 37-hour endeavor into the fucking rocket hideout by reaching for the item acquired by defeating Giovanni, the Sylph Scope, only for Digrat to dig just 3 to 4 steps away from the item.
That motherfucker.
Sending the stream all the way back to the beginning of the fucking maze.
Oh my.
So 2 hours later, they come back and get the item, and then Digrat digs the stream out of Rocket Hideout one last time.
I wish I could have seen the chat log of that. Just
40 hours after they entered the Rocket Hideout for the first time. So that's almost 2 straight days of consecutive gameplay being stuck in one fucking spot.
That's like a video game length.
Yeah.
Exactly. 40 hours.
Entire game.
You could play an entire game in that time. And they were stuck in fucking 2-floor Rocket Hideout from a 90s video game on a handheld. So, as much as I would love to keep going, giving you an absolute play-by-play of every goofy event for the next 10 days of gameplay, I think we should probably keep this to one episode, and it might get a little boring and whatever. So I'm just going to pick out all the major moments as well as a few of my personal favorites.
All right, yeah, run us through the Twitch Plays Pokemon timeline.
Day 8, they renamed Bird Jesus from Pidgeot to, I'm assuming trying to write Bird Jesus, AAABAAAJSS.
It was a valiant effort.
It's the thought that counts.
Bird Jesus also gains the nickname Abba Jesus at this point because of that. Like other people call it Abba Jesus, but it usually kicks up Bird Jesus. Digrat evolves into Eradicate, and then now it's kind of semi-known as Big Dig. But a lot of people still just call it Digrat. And Big Dig shines and redeems themselves, finally using Dig for something useful when they go to the Poke Tower, and nobody can attack the ghosts because nobody has moves for it, except Dig works. So
wow.
Digrat
is
saved
like
the
day
hero
for once,
of the fucking Poke Tower.
He got his redemption.
Day 9, the team had to traverse the Safari Zone to get Surf.
Oh, boy.
Now, I don't know if I have to explain to you. Remember how the Safari Zone worked? You had to pay for entry in the Safari Zone, and then you had a step counter. And once your steps were out, you got kicked out of the Safari Zone, and you had to pay to re-enter.
Right.
Now, I don't know why I should have to explain to you why that's problematic.
Oh, yeah.
They waste all the steps going in a circle. And then
Naturally, all their money was gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so everybody was like, what the fuck are we going to do?
Yeah.
Because you have to get Surf at the back of the Safari Zone, so you have to go there.
and you would reach a fail state eventually if they just like ran out of money. They'd have to like
they'd have to go back and I
through
guess
the whole
grind
game
and get money
grind
somehow.
to get money back. Yeah.
So this was one of the biggest uses of democracy in the entire stream. And I think it is the biggest use of democracy mode for the entire stream. They use democracy mode to navigate their way. It's like a little building in the back of the Safari Zone and capture Surf.
Yeah.
The stream during this time catches 13 new Pokemon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Safari Zone's got a lot of Pokemon in
It does. That's what it's known for.
Most of them are just kind of like whatever garbage throwaway Pokemon.
Sure.
But 3 legends are caught here.
There was a Zapdos, right? Was
That
one?
comes later.
Okay,
yeah.
that was later.
The 3 legends caught here in the Safari Zone are all capitals A, otherwise known as the Fonz.
That took a second.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Wait, what kind of Pokemon was that?
He becomes a Nidoking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whatever the first of the Nidoking is.
Nidorino.
There's gotta
Nidorino,
be
yeah.
such good photoshops of that up there.
Oh, there are great photoshops of the team, like the final team, which the Fonz is part of, and it's fantastic.
Oh man.
They also catch all capitals AATTVVV, otherwise known as ATV or all-terrain Venomoth. Which
man.
there are some great
really do love
photoshops
the
of
internet
Venomoth's
sometimes.
head on the top of like
wheels.
4-wheelers. Yeah, I love it because it's just like you can tell that like the AA
Everyone's
just
in
came
on the
from like
joke
a
here.
stream
Of
lag.
course,
Just a
yeah.
bunch of A.
People mashing A.
Yeah, and the ATV, you're like, what the fuck? Like, all right, we'll just name it all-terrain Venomoth. And also caught, also in all capitals, AIRRR, or Air Jordan, which is the Lapras.
All right.
And obviously ATV is a Venomoth.
Air Jordan
or
the
Venomoth,
Lapras.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have the Fonz, the all-terrain Venomoth, and Air Jordan.
Okay.
So
what a squad.
yeah. Day 10 is not very eventful. There's kind of actually just general gameplay progression.
Okay.
But day 11,
Trucking along.
however, is the most infamous day of all of Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Oh, man.
It's called Bloody Sunday.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's great.
So the stream starts off on a high note. They use their previously acquired Master Ball to catch a Zapdos.
Yeah, that was one I remembered.
I forget where you actually capture the Zapdos. The Zapdos is named AA-J, otherwise known as Battery Jesus, or Battery Bird,
Battery Bird,
or Anarchy Jesus, or Double AJ, or the Archangel of Justice, or my absolute personal favorite, John the Zapdos.
I take it back. That's the best one.
Fucking God bless whoever did that.
I literally can't take any more of these
John
names.
the Zapdos.
Oh, God.
Because at this point, the whole religious-themed lore is in full swing. Bird Jesus is depicted as Bird Jesus. The Helix Fossil is like baby Jesus God. Like, all these people are the protectors. So John the Zapdos is just spectacular.
This is like my new favorite story.
So, room had to be made for AJ in the party, which meant a trip back to the feared PC, or the even more dreaded task of rearranging the party. So, everything went brilliantly under anarchy. 12 Pokemon were released. Mostly unknown randoms from along the way or the Safari Zone.
Who?
But fan favorites Cabbage, the
Cabbage
was
gone.
earlier. Ducks, the Farfetch'd who helped them.
Oh, man.
And very, very sadly, Digrat.
Oh, no!
It's not Big Dig.
Big Dig!
So, this was a sad day. Anarchy did its best to release 12 Pokemon.
I love it because you're piecing together like the whole story for me because my memory is just when I logged in. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to who while I was gone.
So now the stream had no one capable of using Cut. So this forced them to do some serious backtracking. They had to go all the way back through Mount.
Can you buy Cut?
No, I think you can only get it from like that one place.
But can't you reuse it?
You can reuse it, but they didn't have anybody to teach, so they had to go. They had to backtrack until they could find somebody capable of learning Cut. So they had to do some serious backtracking, which included traveling back through Mount Moon without Flash, forcing Bird Jesus to struggle them through once again.
Right, so they just needed a Pokemon. They didn't actually need the TMs don't disappear.
No,
The HMs
don't disappear. TMs do.
TMs do.
TMs are one-time use.
Yeah. And they keep throwing away all the fucking
Of course
moves
they do,
get.
yeah.
So yeah. So on day 12, because they pass back through their hometown, they awake the Helix fossil because that's where you can do it. I think Professor Oak's lab or somewhere you can do that.
Yeah.
And after a few more losses in the Pokemon of unknowns getting released as they try to pull out the Helix fossil, because there's no fucking way they weren't going to pull out this Helix fossil after all the shit that was going on with it, they put Lord Helix into the party, which is what he's named as. And now the party is set for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
Bird Jesus, AJ the Zapdos, Lord Helix, Fonz the Nidorino, ATV, and Air Jordan. So, also, one of my favorite moments happens during this time. They initiate a battle with Burglar Simon, who's just an NPC, okay? Right. And they talk to him while he's in front of a set of stairs. So after the battle's over, the stream is now stuck in a 2x1 space between the burglar, a table, and the map borders. They're just stuck there. Every time they talk to Burglar Simon, he's just like, I'm waiting for my partner or something. In the lore, Revive Girl, who's an NPC from one of the Poke Centers, who earlier in the game, the stream also got stuck behind talking to her. So they're like, oh, they're working together like these bastards to trap us.
Collusion.
So 2.5 hours later, they tried to KO the whole party by doing random encounters in this 2x1
so they could just reset
space.
and go back.
But the only issue was it took way, way longer because the Fonz just wouldn't fucking die because he's immune to poison, which is all of the Pokemon in that area.
Yeah.
So like he just literally would not die, and for 2 hours they couldn't get out.
Can't kill the Fonz.
And a lot of the stream lore considers this holy retribution because they released Digrat, since Digrat could have easily just dug them out of this
fighting
fucking spot
yeah.
and got them free. On day 14, the stream gets caught up in another ledge situation, which is like another single fucking ledge that they had to fucking walk around.
Yeah.
Day 15, there's an epic day of grinding where they just like move around trying to level up their party after they failed to go into Victory Road and got kind of thrashed. And then they come back and like, all right, we'll wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Day 16, Democracy moves some rocks around in some puzzle. ATV earns his infamous Dragon Slayer title. It's because
Who'd he knock
very
out?
fucking interesting. You have to fight the Elite Four. You have to beat all four of them at
Yes,
once and then
yeah.
fight Blue in one fucking run.
Yeah.
So Lance has a Dragonite, and they had wiped the whole party. Lance is the last person in the Final Four, and the Dragonite's his last Pokemon. They had a whole party was wiped.
Dragonite's the last evolved form?
I
Dratini.
yeah, Dragonair.
Dragonair. That was what I was
think,
All right, so Dragonite is the big guy.
The ATV was the only one left, and it was like some 20-odd levels under his Dragonite, and he beat it because of the way
Yeah.
Pokemon system works. An NPC trainer will always prioritize the move that's super effective against his opponent. And the move that was super effective against Venomoth was a non-attack move. It was like one of those like Leer or fucking something that lowered defense or something.
So they just kept lowering
So it
over
just
and over?
kept spamming a non-attack move, all while the Venomoth was just leech-lifing very slowly and defeated the fucking Dragonair 20 levels above it.
Oh, that's so
everybody
good.
calls like ATV the Dragon Slayer.
What's amazing about that is you wouldn't think of that strategy if you were playing that game normally.
No, of course not. Yeah. And then the stream falls to Blue for the first time because you make it through and he's like, "You're the Pokemon Master, except you're not. You're late. The guy you've been rivaling the whole
Yes.
time made it here 20 minutes ago."
Yeah.
So day 17.
Gary was here. Ash is a loser.
Yeah. The stream continues its bout with the elites, and after 21 attempts, they defeat Lorelei, and then Bruno, and then Agatha, and then Lance, and then they return to Blue once again. But this time, it's not just ATV by himself. This time, it's the Fonz, ATV, Bird Jesus, and John the Zaptist himself.
Squad.
So, after a one-shot KO on Blue's Pidgeot and Alakazam
Fucked.
with Thunder, AJ was fucking killing it. Two one-shot KOs. I watched this
Man.
whole battle, by the way.
Dude, the chat must have been going ape shit.
It is. AJ found his moves doing nothing against Blue's Rhydon. All of those Thunder and Electric
Yeah,
attacks were
yeah.
doing nothing. So, the Fonz entered the fray and used Surf to one-hit KO that fool.
Fucking
And then
A.
immediately got swapped back out for AJ, so he could one-hit KO Blue's Arcanine.
Holy
with Thunder.
shit.
Yeah. AJ gets swapped out again for Bird Jesus, who takes a critical hit from Blue's Executor. But he's not out for the count. Bird Jesus strikes back with a Sky Attack, which is like a move where you get like a delay.
Right.
And one hit kills that Executor, dropping him as well. Blue sends out his final Pokemon, Blastoise. And with one Blizzard, KOs Bird Jesus.
No.
Then ATV comes out, and he nearly does the same to ATV. Almost fucking one-shot Blizzards it.
Jeez.
But then he's swapped out for the Fonz, and they frantically click the secret key, which is just an item. Like, literally, I'm assuming they were trying to swap out again to get to AJ, and it just keeps clicking, secret key, you can't use this item, secret key, you can't, for like 10 minutes. After frantically clicking the secret key item, the Fonz drops a few Surfs, and then he gets swapped out for AJ, who defeats Blastoise with one final Thunder Shock in one move, and then Blue is defeated.
Oh my god.
They did it. After setting out from Pallet Town with barely double-digit participation, 16 days, 7 hours, 47 minutes, 53 seconds later, the credits for Pokemon Red roll.
Fuck.
The game ends with a modest player viewer count of 92,588.
I wish I was there.
That's
Yeah.
an average of 80,000 people across the board.
Man.
So it's funny. I think I tuned in during the credits
Really?
because I think
Wow.
somebody posted somewhere
That it was
on like Twitter or
completed?
something, and
Yeah.
they're just like, "Yeah, they just beat Pokemon," and I was like, "What?" I
yeah.
clicked the link, and the credits were rolling.
Holy shit. Woo.
1,165,140 people came together to complete a video game. That number
Damn.
comes from Twitch Plays Pokemon Guinness World Record
I was gonna say there has to be some
for
sort
the
of
most
world
participants of
record
a
against-
single-player online video game, which is still held
Man.
to this day.
Wow. I mean, they ran other games after that, but did they not have the same level of participation? Or?
They've run a ton of Twitch Plays Pokemon. They ran all the regular games and then a bunch of modded versions.
I know there's I think there's one going on now.
Yeah, they play modded versions now of the game.
Yeah, because I don't know what Pokemon Navy Blue is.
They'll play like
a ROM hack of Fire Red and Leaf Green. Okay,
it'll have like random shit and stuff like that. It also won a game award in the best fan creation category.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it gave way to an entirely new way to watch and play video games on Twitch.
Yes,
Twitch Plays now became a thing.
Holy shit, they played through like every Pokemon game ever.
It inspired a detailed and passionate fan fiction, a hefty supply of quality memes, which we talked about, and tons of incredible artwork in a variety of mediums. From the casual viewer or player to the community organizers and the strategists and even the trolls, it birthed a community. So I'll continually beat the drum of the importance and place of video games in our culture, just like I do at the end of every episode I write. And this little microcosm moment of gaming history is a shining example of how games can not only find new ways to surprise and innovate the way we consume them, but also give us opportunities to come together and be a community. Yeah. And maybe sometimes even have similar goals and accomplish something together, even if we all have different views, you know?
It had this,
maybe we have
theme
to.
of like universal kind of like just...
Yeah. Maybe we gotta come together even if we disagree, you know? Maybe the planet will just burn if we don't, everybody. Maybe Twitch Plays Pokemon has a lesson here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a lesson out of this. Nah, I'm just kidding. We just won't be Pokemon Red.
So, Twitch started a Twitch Plays channel after this.
Yes.
And they played through a bunch of the Pokemon games.
There's one I want to talk about.
I'm just going to read off this list and then you stop me.
Okay, I'll stop you if you get to the one. It's obvious which one I want to talk about. I saw that.
Tetris.
Yes. But because what they did with Tetris is that they used the actual command inputs from Twitch Plays Pokemon for Tetris.
Oh.
So that was their... I think they also did a run of Tetris where people in real time tried to do it.
Oh, they used the archive.
They used the archive commands and then like...
including one which used the actual command inputs from the original Twitch Plays Pokemon.
That's the one I was thinking of, yeah. I don't think it did very well.
Street Fighter 2... Okay. Halo Combat Evolved.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Wow. How do you play an FPS?
I don't know. It says itself made significantly more difficult by nature of being a first-person shooter.
There you go.
Metal Gear Ghost Babel.
Oh, that's the Game Boy one.
Yeah, Dark Souls.
Yeah, that I remember. I watched some of the Dark Souls.
They beat Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
That is incredible. I have no idea.
That is way more insane than
I can't beat that.
That was like 20-something days, too, I think.
Really? It was actually shorter. I thought it would take years.
Or was it longer? I thought it... Maybe. I don't know.
Fallout 3.
Okay.
PUBG.
Wait, did they play against other people?
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder how they did.
No,
I'm going to see at the top.
They did get a victory or a chicken dinner at one point.
What?
Yeah.
How the fuck?
They also did one for Teamfight Tactics, Pokemon Go, a Tamagotchi, something to do with the New York Stock Exchange.
What?
And then a Twitch Plays Chess, where they played against a chess grandmaster.
I think I saw some
beat
of that.
him as well.
That's amazing.
Wow.
28 days is what they did Dark Souls.
I know Telltale did it with the crowd play thing before. Like people were playing adventure games too. Like they
did it with crowd play and as well.
Yeah, I think they did it for their Batman game and stuff.
Tiny Build had a game called Punch Club where they actually promoted the game before it was released. They put it on Twitch Plays and let people play it. It has a legacy there, and then an even greater legacy elsewhere.
Yeah.
What led to the fish then? Was that after?
There was Fish Plays Pokemon. Yeah. And then the fish started playing other games.
Although I feel like they took some of that from Fish Center, but...
It's just spectacular.
It really is.
Crowd play doesn't exist without this random little fucking moment here, like on the scale that it does now.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool fucking community. Like, you should really, like, if you want to have a laugh, read some of that Pokemon lore, because it's fucking hilarious.
This is the most I've laughed in a while on here.
Yeah.
Shit's goofy as
Did they already beat Pokemon Sword?
The one that, like, just came out in November?
7 days, 23 hours, 57 minutes.
Your roommate hasn't even beaten it yet.
I know.
Well, that's all I got.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was good. That was fun.
Thanks for listening. This was a little break in the middle of our Tetris saga.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks with the rest of the Tetris stuff.
Which I think is good for everybody. I'm not trying to bury people in
blocks.
In blocks, yeah, I guess.
If you bury them in too many blocks, they'll disappear anyway. It's fine. As always... Keep an eye on our social media stuff, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @HotButtonCast. If this is your first episode, you can also subscribe on any of the podcast services. I'm not even going to name them anymore. There's too many. We're on all
everything.
Of them. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what they are.
And also find more information on our website, hotbuttoncast.com. As I have been saying for weeks now, we have some stuff coming up in the future, maybe some video stuff, so keep an eye out for that.
And if you listen, please write a review on iTunes. It helps boost up the numbers and more people can listen to us, and then we can, reach a bigger audience. If you like it, maybe somebody else will.
Call us all
Spread
handsome.
the word, too. Tell your friend, hey, you like video games? These guys like laughing.
Arm yourselves with knowledge.
Yeah.
And I guess check out twitch.tv if you want to see a bunch of people playing Pokemon Navy Blue right now. I'm sure there's a character walking into a wall somewhere.
Let me do a test.
Yeah. And then join us for Twitch Plays Hot Button, where we're all going to speak.
Yeah, based off of whatever words.
Based off Twitch. That's a bad idea.
Whoa, who knew the internet was so racist immediately?
Yeah. And it would only take us 16 days to get through the...
Only 130 people watching it.
Oh, it's gone down a bit, huh?
Oh yeah, this is the they have betting and shit now. All right. Yeah, thanks for listening, and tune in next week for the rest of the Tetra stuff. If you haven't listened to Tetra stuff, go back and listen to those too.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks from now, we'll pick that back up.
All right. See you guys soon.
Bye.